Polymaker sent over this new filament. Let's see what it's all about. So Polymaker hit me up a few days ago asking if I wanted to test out their new filament. They didn't say what it was, but I said, of course. Now the thing about it was getting released really soon, as in they didn't even know if it was going to get to me before it would get released. But there was no obligation to get the content out before release. In fact, there was no obligation to make a video in general. They just wanted me to test it and let them know what I thought of it. Well, luckily today's Sunday, and I think Wednesday or Tuesday is when they're announcing it, so why not throw something together? Not like I don't have a lot going on as it is. So quickly, here's what I think about Polymaker PET-GF. So a buddy of mine was looking for a sunshade for his fish finder. I was going to print one out of ASA or something like that, but this new filament drop was a stroke of good timing. We had to look through a handful of models because this is a pretty well-supported fish finder, and we landed on this one from this dude named Mark. I have his link below. So I set about opening the new filament and inspecting it. It looks super cool, it comes in different colors. And I know that's one of the issues with carbon fiber reinforced filaments. It's difficult to get different colors when you're dealing with black carbon fibers. And there's a lot of debate around which is truly better, carbon fiber or glass fiber. As for me, I tend to lean towards the glass fiber, personally. Though carbon fiber has a lot of advantages like rigidity, there's a weight savings, and generally higher performing mechanical properties, the glass fiber makes up for these shortcomings in a more profound way. Some of those examples include the fact that it's a lot cheaper to get glass fiber than it is carbon fiber, so you get a cheaper roll of filament, which is the thing I like. You like that? But the lower rigidity can also be an advantage because super rigid, brittle materials like carbon fiber reinforced ones absolutely cannot work their way through an AMS. Now, you shouldn't be putting these filaments through an AMS anyway, but if you were going to, the glass fiber ones generally work a lot better because they are a little bit more flexible off the spool. And it sounds like those are a lot of the reports that Polymaker got when they were making this filament, so in order to address those issues, this is what they landed on. So that's all pretty cool, but let's print this model and see if it's any good. Now for starters, again, I'm not saying you should load your abrasive filament into your AMS. It'll wear out the unit sooner, you'll have maintenance a lot sooner, so I'm going to go ahead and load mine into the AMS. Then I'm going to tell my X1 carbon that it's got a PET-CF because that's a Polymaker option already on the X1 carbon. That's probably close enough. We'll see. Finally, I'm going to start a dry cycle on my IBOS filament dryer AMS mod that I did a few weeks ago, because that's like the only way you can actually print and dry at the same time. Way to go, Bamboo. So I'm going to let it print, but let me just say a few things. Just like you shouldn't be running abrasives through your AMS, you also shouldn't print straight away with a fresh spool of filament. You should make sure it's dried thoroughly and completely before you begin printing with it. Otherwise you might get some print artifacts or it could jam up your machine. Furthermore, you should be using the manufacturer's recommended settings when you're printing with that filament, instead of just printing with the setting that is available on the machine that's kind of close. I'm not responsible if your print doesn't turn out well. That's you. I'm responsible when mine doesn't turn out well though, because I'm not doing any of these things. Unfortunately, this print has a lot going against it, but for science. Now let's prepare the file. I started by loading it into Bamboo Studio and began thinking about the settings I wanted to apply to this print. I wanted a finer layer height because of the curves that were in the Z plane, so we went to a 0.2 instead of the regular 0.28 that I print with often. Then I set about picking which areas I wanted to support on the plate with mouse ears. Fiber reinforced filament usually doesn't struggle with warping as much because it is so rigid, but these tiny contact patches here don't stand much of a chance without some kind of bed adhesion support like a mouse ear or a brim. From there we had to turn on supports, which I'm never a fan of, but these little tabbies here needed support regardless, and that way these holes here wouldn't have to bridge and they'd stay nice and round. And that was it. I set it off to print. I'll bring you guys back when it's done so we can see if it went okay or if I need to do all the things that I said you need to do before you print. I guess this could be foreshadowing. I don't know. Also, spaghetti nacho t-shirt, QioPrints.com. Like print spaghetti, and I print nachos. You get it. If I don't know where to go, who to turn to. So to answer the question how this stuff prints, pretty well, I'd say. I didn't dry it properly. I fed it through an AMS, which you're not supposed to do. And I didn't have the correct settings necessarily. I just used the PET-CF setting, not PET-GF. And you know what? It turned out super well. I mean, like, flawlessly. Look at it. Look how good it is. Oftentimes, the fiber reinforced stuff will have the effect of hiding the layer lines because it's got a textured surface, because of the composites that's embedded within the plastic. And this is no exception. It looks very good. I usually don't really care about layer lines. Like some people are like, ooh, we need to hide the layer lines. I don't care. But I do have to admit, this looks very good. Although it is showing my fingerprints quite a bit. All the supports came off super well, mouse ears came off well, mostly because that stuck to the plate really bad. And that's my fault. I should not have used this plate. Should have used the smooth blue plate that BIQU has instead of this one that's meant for PLA and PETG. Or you could use glue stick to help it release from the plate. Didn't do any of those things. I know better. And look at this thing. I did use isopropyl alcohol to help release the print, and that seemed to work pretty well, but there was quite a bit of flexing happening. As for removing the remainder, I just switched out the plate that was on the machine, honestly. PET-GF, very good material, pretty stoked with the result. Printed super easily, and I think it's only like 33 bucks a roll. So for a super high performance material like this, I can't complain. That's pretty good. If you want to get a hold of some of this, you can check the link in the description. By now it will have come out and it should be available in all the colors. That's an affiliate link, so we get a commission. So determine if this is something you want based on your thoughts, not necessarily just my thoughts. But like, come on, dude. The results speak for themselves, you know? Also, if you want to support the channel, you can check out our Patreon. We've got a $2 a month plan that gives you a little bit of extra stuff if you're interested in that kind of thing. It's not a lot of extra stuff. It's only $2 a month. You're not going to be getting like podcasts and stuff. But you get a discount at QioPrints.com, and you get little bits extra behind the scenes things. Anyway, otherwise, get yourself some merch at QioPrints.com, like Spaghetti Nacho, or any of the other shirts we have available. Bye.